Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Shri Hari, Radha Shri Hari Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radha Sharad Bihari, Radha Sharad Bihari, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radha Shri Hari, Radha Shri Hari Radhe.
Jaya Radha Shri Hari Radha Shri Hari Radhe.
Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Patita Pavana Gauranita.
Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Patita Pavana Gauranita.
Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Patita Pavana Gauranita.
Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Pandita Pavana Gauranita.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Shri Subhadra.
Jaya Gauranita,
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Shri
Jaya
Subhadra.
Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Shri Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Shri
Subhadra.
I go to Hari Bo.
I go,
Hari Bo.
I go,
I go to Hari Bo.
I go,
Jai
Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada. 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 Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Simanandi Ribo.
Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna. We thank the devotees for joining us on our weekly Zoom online Sunday class. We are happy to see so many devotees online, and from Reading, from local, from Gitanagri. I do see Mother Shama Goparupa here, so that's wonderful to have her join us. I'm happy to see so many devotees, and I would like to welcome each of you individually before we hear from our guest speaker today, His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami. I will go as what I have the names on the screen. We welcome, of course, Dear Krishna Prabhu and his family. He is the one that makes sure that everything happens online and, you know, have devotees come in and join the class. So thank you. Thank you, Suvert, for leading a wonderful kirtan, and thank you for always being there to make sure that it happens. And again, Mother Shama Goparupa, thank you for joining us from Gitanagri. We're happy to see you and be part of our Sunday program online. And we hope that you and your family are joining us as we are, you know, enjoying the upcoming lecture by Bhaktimarga Swami. So thank you for joining us. And I see Mother Mamina. Thank you, Mataji, for joining us all the way from York. Hare Krishna. I see Anu. Thank you for joining us. And also Sangeeta from Hershey. Wonderful. I'm so happy to see you online, Sangeeta. I also see Ishika. Thank you, Ishika, for joining. And I know that Ishika is excited to hear Bhaktimarga Swami speak. She's been excited for the past few days as soon as she heard that Marge was going to speak. So I'm happy here online. I see Shrikant Prabhu, thank you for joining. I see Nagaraju Prabhu, thank you for joining, Prabhu. Tungavidya, happy to see you online. Madhu Mataji from Reading, thank you for joining. My husband Preksha Prabhu, thank you for joining. It's nice to see my family also online on their own devices within the house. Anand Prabhu from Reading, thank you for joining. And I'm hoping I did not miss anyone else. And as we all, did I miss anyone? No, okay, so far. And as devotees join in, we would like to also welcome you on our chat if the lecture is going on. Before we pass the moment to the next hour to Bhaktimarga Swami, we all are very familiar and we know Bhaktimarga Swami to be the walking monk. We are very happy that he is with us. And if any of you, I would actually encourage devotees to follow him on Facebook. It's so nice.
They can hear it.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I think we lost your connection. I'm sure she will join back in a few seconds. Brinda or Vishakha, you are there? Yeah, she's joining back.
Yeah, Prabhu, she lost connection, so she's coming back in 1 minute.
No problem, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj.
Are we waiting for Anasuya?
Yes, Maharaj, just give us few seconds. She should be on in few seconds.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, how are you?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Puneet.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I still remember a kirtan in Miami, Florida,
In Miami.
2016.
What was that? Miami Beach?
Yeah, we did a Harinam on Miami Beach, and then we were also at somebody's house in Miami. Not sure if you recall that.
Well, I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't see her face. If I do, then I might remember.
Am I sharing video?
Let me see if I can spotlight you.
Hare
Was it
Krishna.
Madhu? Okay.
Yeah, my name is Puneet. We met in Florida quite 2 years
Yes.
ago, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. Sure, I remember you.
But
You're living in
Swami, I
Harrisburg?
apologize for the confusion. Somehow the internet doesn't like me today.
Well, it's your karma.
It's my karma. Absolutely. It's my karma. I'm burning my karma here. For some reason.
For that, you might have to fall into a hot vat of Hershey syrup, chocolate syrup.
Probably with some pistachios on top, Maharaj.
Well, we'll throw that on you. We're added decor.
We're out of decor. That sounds so luscious, but thank you. But I do want to welcome Marge, and we are happy to have you with us. We know him to be the walking monk for his wonderful dramas. And I feel very fortunate that my family and I have had very close association and had the mercy and the blessing to actually have Maharaj's darshan for many, many years. And I will, Marge, it's all yours. You can take it and roll with it.
Okay. We were thinking, thank you very much. Happy Mother's Day. And to all of you mothers who are mothers or plan to be mothers, and those of you who don't plan to be, you probably were mothers in a previous life when you were in another body, another gender, okay? And if not, it might happen in the future. So anyways, happy Parents' Day. I guess that's really what we want to say. I was hoping we could start off by singing something, a bhajan. And I have with me Dwarkanath Prabhu. Give us a little demo. Okay, and we have Corrado here, whom you know. Haribol, and I'm Bhaktimarga Swami. So you all know this song, Yashamati Nandan, correct? Was that right? Starts with Yashoda, the first word Yashoda, one of the outstanding mothers of the universe. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Everybody ready? You can respond. I know there's a little delay, sounds kind of odd, but what can we do? All right, here we go. Yashamati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Khana
Yashamati
Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Khana
Andana Brajabara Ranjanakana
Madana Manohara Madana Manohara Amala Harinam Ami Abhilasa Vina Purandara Navina Nagara Bara
Yashomati Nandana
Ranjanaka
Amarinam Amyabilasa
Amalarinam Amiya Vilasa
Amarinam Amyabilasa
Amalarinam Amaya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navinnagar
Suragula Nashana Suragula Nashana
Nanda Godhana Rakhavala Nanda Godhana Rakhavala
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara
Govinda Madhava Navanita
Govinda
Taskara
Madhava Navanita Taskara
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Yamuna
Gopi Basana Sarasita Kripa
Kripa Moya
Gopi Basanahara Rasarasika Kripa Maya
Yamunachara Gopi Basana Hara Rasarasika Kripa Moya
Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natapara
Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana
Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natapara
Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Bhakti Vinoda Shreya Bhakti Vinoda Shraya
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Prabhupada,
Hey Prabhupada.
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada,
Jai
Jaya
Jai
Jaya
Prabhupada.
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 Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada.
Jaya
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 Prabhupada,
Prabhupada. Prabhupada.
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Jaya
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 Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Gaur Premanande.
Haribol.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajikacharya Suttara Suttasisimar Hisavangai A.C. Bhaktimarga Swami Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajikacharya Suttara Suttasisimar Hisavangai Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Oh,
Ananda Kopi Vaishabrinda Ki.
Jai.
Jai Ho.
Nama Charishal Harirasutar Ki.
Jai.
Jai Ho.
Praise God, Saint Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Govardhan Ki.
Jai.
Shri Vrindavan Nam Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Radha Dweep Manipur Nam Ki.
Jai.
Gangamai Ki.
Jai.
Jai Ho.
Jai.
Jai.
Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Sankirtan Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
All the mothers of the universe Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Shama Meera Bhakta Vrinda Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Glory to the assembled devotee.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Glory
Krishna.
to the assembled devotee.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Assembled devotee.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Guru Sri Gauranga Nama Om Srimadaya Srimadaya Srimate Bhaktimarga Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati
Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane.
Harine. Haribo.
Haribol Mar. Haribol.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's Dwarkanath and Corrado. Haribo.
Haribol.
So again, we'll start off with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitanina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Right. Are we having a question and answer session or not?
Yes, Maharaj. After your lecture, we normally end with a question and answer. Yes.
Okay, great. And when do you want us to finish talking?
Maharaj, you have an hour till
An hour.
6:30.
Till 6:30, okay. And the question and answers included. What time
Yes.
is it?
5:30, 5:30, something like that.
Okay, great. So let us begin by wishing everyone once again a happy Mother's Day. Mothers are very important in people's lives. They've done so much for us and continue to do so much. That is for those whose mothers are still with us. They have given us birth, they've nurtured us, fed us, bathed us, trained us, put us to sleep, etc., etc. They're ultimate sacrificers. And when if we ever get a chance to talk to you on Father's Day, we'll put a good plug in for dads as well. But mom is really important. And we have some real shining stars in the matriarchal as well as patriarchal culture of what we call Vedic culture. So I'd like to highlight some of those personalities. But I would like to open up by talking about some of the bad mothers, if that's okay. There are some bad mothers in our tradition. When I think of the Ramayana, what comes to mind is not somebody like Tatak, who was like a demoness, but more along the lines of Manthara and Kaikeyi, who set everything off track. King Dasarath went to his people in Ayodhya and he said, I've been ruling for 60,000 years. It's time for me to retire now, don't you think? After 60,000 years of ruling the planet and Ayodhya as the headquarters. So therefore, I've decided to transfer the crown, give the power to my eldest son, Ramachandra, and he will be a just ruler. So the residents of Ayodhya were very excited about that. And nobody had any qualms about it, except for one, let's say, motivated personality. Her name was Manthara. And she seemed to have a gift to penetrate into the mind of her, her boss, which was Kaikeyi, one of the wives of Dasarath, and also the mother of Bharat, one of Ram's brothers. So she was a little attached to her position, I guess you could say, maybe attached to salary. She didn't have a very good overview vision of things, so she decided Ram cannot be installed on the throne. He has to go. So she spoke to the mother of Bharat and said, did you hear what's happening? And Kaikeyi is her name. She was lying on a royal couch having an afternoon snap. Prabhupada used to say snap instead of nap. That means it has to be faster than a nap. A snap. So she had a snap or a nap, whatever. And she got awoken by Manthara, her maidservant. Said, did you hear the news? What news are you talking about? What are you talking about? The news that Ram will be installed. That's the announcement. And when she woke up, fully came to consciousness, she thought, this is good news. Let me reward you with a diamond, like a ring. And she just, Manthara tossed that to the side and said, I pity your simplicity. You know, don't you understand what's going to happen here? Ram will be installed on the throne, and your son Bharat will have to suffer and struggle in his life. He may banish him and so on like that. So he put all this kind of poison into the mind of Kaikeyi, and that's where I say she was kind of a wicked lady, as was Kaikeyi herself. She became wicked and became an enemy of the people, you can say, at least for the time being. So those are some nasty ladies that come to my mind. And also, if we go to another ancient story from the Puranas, we have King Uttanapad. Most of our stories have to do with Brahmins and Kshatriyas. So King Uttanapad was a Kshatriya. He ruled the world, and he had 2 wives and he had 2 sons. 1 son from each of the wives. Suruchi was one, and he liked her the best. Suniti was the one who was a little bit more pious and had greater depth in her life vision, a visionary. Her name was Suniti, and her son's name was Dhruva. And the other boy, that is the son of Suruchi, the favored wife, his name was Uttam. So it happened that one day in the royal palace, that the 2 boys were just trying to have fun with their dad. You know, one thing that dads do, they do it quite well, is they play with their kids. They stimulate them and let the kids have a good time. They tickle them. Dads make their children laugh and sometimes throw them up in the air and catch them, you know. and almost as if they're going to miss them, but dad never misses, you know. Dad's job is to push their children. You know, you're dealing with this world, it's not a nice world. You know, a little bit of aggression, they get to experience that when they're young. So the boys were trying to climb up onto the lap of King Uttanapad, and Uttam was succeeding. Dhruva tried to get on top, and then Suruchi, the stepmother of Dhruva, said, "I'm sorry, Dhruva, you cannot do this." Why? Because you're not born of my womb. If you want to have the privilege of enjoying with your father, then you have to die, and then you'll have to be born in my womb, and then you'll have the privilege. So hearing that kind of statement from an adult figure, somebody who's supposed to be like, carry a mother figure, was very damaging to Dhruva at that point. It's like she was a psychological child abuser, you can say that. So Dhruva was very hurt by this. He was crushed, you know, to be told, die and then be born in my womb. I mean, that's totally out of his control. What can the boy do? Now, so she was at fault for making that kind of statement. And also, who else was at fault? The king himself. He should have corrected that wife and said, that's not proper. That's not how you deal with children. So because he didn't say anything, he was also a guilty party in this matter, you know. So Dhruva went to his own mom, Suniti, who has, you know, this visionary I was telling you about. And he said, Mom, this is what happened, and my stepmother was not nice to me, and I feel so angry. And he was demonstrating his Kshatriya nature, which is to be angry, easily angered. And I want to prove that I'm somebody. I want to prove that I have vengeance in me. I'm angry, and I want to show these people that I am somebody. How can I show them that I am somebody? I want to have a kingdom. I want to build myself up to have a kingdom that will exceed the opulence of Brahma himself. So how can I do that? How can I be strong? How can I be powerful and influential? So his mother, Suniti, was saying, well, if you want to be strong, you have to have determination. Said, where can I learn that? And she said, well, yogis usually do that. You know, she's saying, you have to go to Vishnu. He will help you with whatever you want. Where do I find Vishnu? Well, you can find them with the yogis. They're meditating. Where are they? They're in the forest, they're in the jungle, meditating there. So he decided, I'm going to the jungle. I'm going to find them. And I'm going to find Vishnu, and I'm going to put in my shopping list, so to speak. I'm going to put, so then he swiftly took off thereon, much to the dismay of his mother. His father had great regret after this. He was lamenting, and he was thinking, maybe my son has been, because he's only a 5-year-old kid, and he's in the jungle, and wild dogs, a pack of wild dogs may come and devour him. Like he was thinking the worst scenario. Anyways, time went on. Suruchi, she did have remorse and regret for what she had done, but she did demonstrate a not good side of a parent, you know, that was not honorable. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu, he was not a very honorable father. He was the original deprogrammer, the original child abuser. So those are some examples of nasty ladies. There is a long list. There are some demonesses there. Putana comes to mind. But you know, we want to highlight the stars in the Vedic sky. We want to reflect on someone like Kunti Devi. Kunti was the mother of the 5 famous Pandavas, and she took such good care of them. They loved her. They loved her for all that she stood for and all that she represented. She had, let's say, she was acclaimed as being a prized queen. Everybody knew her about her. And when Krishna is addressing Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he says Kuntiya and Partha. This nomenclature indicates that Arjuna, your mother is an outstanding lady, and whatever move you make, whatever act you perform, whatever words come out of your mouth, you must represent her, you know. And he said the same thing on the father's side, Osayana Bharat. So, you know, act as they would act. Look at your ancestry. This is the way that people would address each other. In Vedic times, everyone had several names, and they were honorable. So anyways, Kunti did many wonderful things. She, at the tail end, as the Pandavas were leaving for their own abode and going back to the spiritual world, Kunti had a few very nice words. She had some private time with Krishna. And what she was expressing are found in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, outpourings of devotion to Krishna. So biologically, she's the aunt of Krishna, but she recognized that Krishna is not an ordinary soul. She looked at his feet and she said, these are not ordinary feet. They're feet that can hold up the world. They're handsome feet. They're beautiful, strong, firm. And she uttered a beautiful prayer, which is in verse 42. Tui me nanyavishaya, matir madhupate sakrit, ritim udvatad adha, tangi vogam undanvanti. And in this verse, she's simply saying that, may my mind always be directed to you, to your lotus feet. Just as the Ganges river's waters flow continually to the ocean, let my consciousness be constantly drawn to you without being diverted by anything else. Many of you have been to the Ganges River. Yes? Put up your hand if you have. What's the name of your river there in Harrisburg? That runs through the
Susquehanna River.
Susquehanna?
Yes.
Wow, and it's quite a wonderful river.
Yes.
I haven't swam across that one yet. One day I might. But the Ganga is like, it's a glorious river, and it meanders. It kind of sways this way and that way, but ultimately all the water flows to the ocean. So she's saying to her nephew, Krishna, you are actually the supreme. May my attention be always drawn to you without being diverted to anyone else. And why are Krishna's lotus feet important? It's because if we concentrate on them, it means we take a humble position. It means that we will no longer meet with repeated birth and death. Another famous verse that devotees all over the world like to quote from Queen Kunti is Vipada Santu Tashashvat Tatra Tatra Jagadguru Bhavato here, let's see, I kind of lost the last two lines, but I'll find it if anybody knows it. Okay, we're going to get it. Vipada Santu Tashvash Tatra Tatra Jagadguru. I'll find it. So Vipada means when you put your foot in the wrong place. Like if you happen to walk in the dark and you step on like a copperhead snake or something. I think you might have copperhead snakes there in Pennsylvania. Am I right there? Do you have some poisonous snakes?
Yeah, I've seen rattles, I've seen copperhead, I've seen, but I think the
Copperheads.
garden snake don't hurt us so much is what I heard.
Okay, yeah, that's right. We also have rattlesnakes in Canada. So they'll strike at you. And one of my god sisters, she was made a visit to Sharanagati, our farm community in British Columbia. She accidentally stepped on a rattlesnake and she had to go to the hospital right away because she got highly infected. So that's my point. If you step somewhere and you get a hiss and you get a strike, you know you stepped in the wrong place. So that's vipada. It's called, pada means footstep. Vipada means when it's in the wrong place. You stepped in a danger zone. So she's saying, vipada santu tashvasvat, tatra tatra jigadguru, bhavato darshanam yatsyad, apunar bhava darshanam. So she said, we've gone through many calamities, vipada. What were those calamities? Well, everybody knows Draupadi, the wife of the Pandavas. She was humiliated. She was brought in during her period and dragged in by the hair. And she's also a queen. And so this lowly act on the part of Dushasana and Duryodhana was enacted by them. And so she was dishonored. Fortunately, Krishna came as a hero to save the day. So that was one mishap. Another tragedy or calamity that they went through was that Hidimba was attacking Bhima. Hidimba was a big cannibal. Everyone knows what a cannibal is, right? I was looking at a series of National Geographics. Everybody likes National Geographic magazines? No?
No.
Okay. I know they're a supporter of Darwinism, but they have good photos and good articles. So I was looking at one that was quite old and had a picture in there of a cannibal from the 40s, the 1940s. And he looked pretty weird, that's from New Guinea. And the caption underneath the picture was, I have eaten a man and I've eaten a woman. They taste the same. Gross. So anyways, cannibals are what they are. And we, in the Ramayana, we hear about cannibals as well. You know, they were flourishing. Okay, so that was under attack. There's an attempt to poison the Pandavas along with Kunti. There was an attempt to bring their house down, made of shellac, this kind of lac, and very combustible, inflammable, but they escaped through a secret tunnel. So many attempts were made to to be gone with the Pandavas, but they survived. Kunti's realizations about all of this is that, okay, we have calamities. They've been good for us. She saw a calamity as an opportunity. When there's trouble, it means I turn my face towards Krishna and take shelter of him. That was her epiphany, her great realization. So now we're going through this pandemic where everything's closed down, shut down. We're told to keep your social distancing going, even though people have been socially distancing themselves from God for a long time. They're well practiced and well rehearsed. Some people are finding it a little difficult to live under these circumstances, but we'll have to look at the good side of it. You've all heard that the Ganga River is looking a lot cleaner these days. Wild animals are coming into the streets where they normally don't because there's less traffic. What else? The air is cleaner. You can see the mountains, so on and so forth. You know, there's a lot of good things that are coming out of this. People are appreciating more what they have, not what they don't have, you know. So we shouldn't concentrate so much and thinking of, look at all the things I can't do. Because whatever you cannot do now doesn't mean that there's many things that restricting you from things that you can do. And like say for now, many people are spending more time with family, isn't it? They're eating together. They're spending less time at the restaurants. And so that's a good sign. Some people figured out they'll play on the piano. They'll sing the song Georgia or something like that. Like I know Parikshit does. Parikshit, I hear your voice.
Yeah, I'm here. Hare Krishna.
You know, our indigenous people in Canada, they, for several weeks in the year, they have no light. They can't see the sun, or it might just come up and it goes down suddenly. So what do they do to keep themselves occupied? Well, they'd stay in their snow house. They would have some oil so they would light it and they could at least see each other. How do they keep themselves happy? How do they keep themselves engaged and free from considering suicide? How do they manage it? You have to think about this. They're crammed together. You go outside, there's no light, it's all dark. What are you going to do? So what they did was they would tell stories. They would sing. They would make music. And this is how they occupied most of their time. Tell me this story. Tell me that story. All legendary stories. Beautiful stuff. But that's how they did it. We can learn from them what they did. They didn't have advanced technology. So now maybe we have to learn. Of course, we're using a lot more technology now, right? Aren't we? But we're using it for the cause of Krishna. That is the point. We're using it all so that we can get closer to him. And that is the objective. So if we see that there's some problems in the world, like what we're facing right now with this virus, is that it's we have to see the good thing, that's the good side of it all, and not dwell so much on what's negative. My parents would tell us stories about when they went through the Second World War, and it wasn't nice. They had to honor curfews. Their friends would be killed, shot. Some of them would be sent off to concentration camps. My parents were Christian, but they had this sentiment for the Jewish people. And Jewish folks were sent off to these horrible camps where they were exterminated ultimately, you know. And what was their fault? Nothing really. They were different. So Hitler was trying to impose a sort of a genocide, a sort of ethnic cleansing. And anyways, my parents went through that kind of, they had seen the worst side of life. But, and I would ask them, so what did you do? I said, well, we were all very close to each other. We valued each other. Every little piece of food that was there, we rationed it. It was important to us. And God was important to us. Our religion meant everything. And our parents and our brothers and sisters, we held on to each other and our neighbors and so on like that. So we always have to look at the bright side of things and not get into a cursing mode. Actually, there's always a virus around, and it's called Maya. And there's another virus called Kali, you know, that we read about in the first canto of the Bhagavatam. And those are viruses. And we also have a lot of viruses inside of us. Right within, we have little demons all the time. We never talk about that, do we? We're allowed to be very devilish, and some people make a lot of money out of doing cruel things and criminal acts, you know. So the virus that's come to us right now, if it's forcing us to look at nature, then maybe it's not such a bad thing after all. After all, most of us need to have a reality check anyways. We get so complacent. We get so lazy and lethargic. That's our biggest enemy. For a Vaishnava to be on the straight and narrow path of bhakti, to get casual and kind of lazy and complacent, it's the worst thing that can happen to us. So now we're a little bit more on our toes. We have to be a little bit more careful, and you have to sort of like everybody a little bit more. You have to like your neighbor. because who knows what's going to happen in the future. So in this world, Dukhalaya Mashashvatam, place of miseries, and it's unpredictable. So we have to see that these things that instill some fear in us, maybe it's a healthy fear. You know? Otherwise, again, we just get very casual about everything. So I think Kunti is just quite a saintly person because of her realizations and her prayers. She's right in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, and we have to pay attention. Prabhupada spent a lot of time and energy on the first and second cantos and their translation. And we simply have to see that Kunti contributed much and does to our lives through her realizations of the Absolute. After all, most of us come, and there is one verse here in this canto where Prabhupada is talking about the four kinds of people that surrender to the Lord. There are those who are needy, there are those who are curious, there are those who are in distress, and then there are those who are just full of wisdom. It comes natural to them. You know, it's logical to worship something that's greater than myself. So in chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking about the four kinds of people that do submit to him. And everybody that's, tuned in right now has their own story to tell about how they came to Krishna consciousness. Some of us came because, well, I was born into this and it's natural for me. Some people came because they were just curious. Hey, that's cool. I love your drumming. I love your food. What's this? What's that? You know, we have people coming to our doors sometimes like that. And and they're just absolutely curious, like the Kumaras were curious about their spiritual life. And then we have those people who are highly in distress, which is most of us. And then we have an example of Dhruva, who actually wanted some wealth, and eventually his heart changed. Said, "I don't need this wealth. I don't need to find a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I'm okay now. I've developed some level of detachment, and I've seen the Supreme Lord with my own eyes. I've seen Vishnu. I came to see Vishnu. I wanted something from him. And when I saw him, my desires weren't, I didn't have the same ambition anymore." So he's an example of someone who comes out of a need, like a financial need, I guess you could say.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So if the virus is bringing us down to our knees, it's not a bad thing. And so Kunti's realizations are like that. The Kauravas, she said, they're not really helping us. Just before the war began, she had a chat with her first son, Karna. And it's a very touching scene where she never had a chance to see her son grow. And we all know the consequence, what were the events leading up to that. She was not able to raise her child. And now she saw him, big, strong, good-looking man with some morals. But she didn't want the war to go on. She didn't want to see that her own sons, headed by Yudhishthira, that their lives would be threatened. So she said a few things. She said, because she believed in it firmly, the Kauravas have not been nice to us. They've not been fair to us. Even at the gambling match, they were not fair to us. So really, I don't think you should be with them. You should come to our side. And Karna got very upset. Where were you when I needed you? You threw me in the river. What's that all about? He could have challenged her, say, what kind of a mother are you? More or less, he was doing that. But we know Kunti didn't have bad intentions. She did leave her son adrift to the river. And in those days, rivers were like, what do you call that shopping center that everybody goes to? Costco. The rivers and in the Ganga River, everybody went to the Ganga. Everybody. All the pundits went there, all the sacrifices took place. People went there to bathe. People went there to do their laundry. They came to socialize and even clean some of their fruits and vegetables with their men for cooking. Everything happened at the Ganga. So Kunti was confident that her eldest son, Karna, was going to be looked after. Someone would take the baby because everyone was there. And so she held that very strong motherly instinct throughout. She can't really be faulted, really she can't. And when Karna was finally taken down by an arrow by Arjuna, it was Kunti that came forward and offered respect. She bowed down to him. And the 5 Pandava brothers, Karna's brothers, that he only knew about till at the very end, they were all shocked. What's our mother doing with the arch enemy and offering obeisance? What's she doing? He said, and then she just had to tell the truth. He was your brother. He was your oldest brother. So then the Pandavas got pretty angry all this time, and you didn't tell us. And of course, she had her good reasons. But anyways, in general, we look at Kunti, and she was an incredible role model for us on the feminine side. And girls who are growing up in Krishna consciousness should not have any problem. There's no shortage of female heroines, female saints to look up to. And Kunti is certainly one of them. She inspires everybody. Kunti does. So we said a few things about her. What time do we have right now? 6:07, okay. We still got a little ways to go, but we can maybe open it up soon for your questions. And I would just like to say her prayers should be reflected upon. I think on Mother's Day, we should be looking at these prayers to remind us of what a mother is really like. I remember my mother, like when I was raised in southwestern Ontario, and it's known to have a lot of electric storms, you know. And whenever there was lightning coming down, she would get the holy water out and sprinkle it all around, just because she was in this protective mode. When Prabhupada was growing up as Abai, his mother would take a thumb, I think it was the thumb, one of her fingers, and put saliva to it and put it to his brow, meaning that this was her way of saying, please, God, protect my child. And Yashoda, also Krishna's mom, or let's say his foster mom, she also had Krishna wear all kinds of talismans, protective things, because anything can happen, and we know that Krishna was being attacked all the time. So she kept that sentiment. Yashoda was saying to Krishna, Krishna, it's time to eat now. It's time to eat now. Now means now. Okay. And Krishna was so enwrapped in his playing with his friends. He wasn't really interested. You know, kids are like that sometimes. It's such ecstasy playing. So Krishna was interested more in what we call prayas. Prayas means what's for your immediate benefit. I'm having a good time. Shreyas means what's for your ultimate benefit. So Mother Yashoda is thinking like a parent. You have to eat so you'll be strong like Nanda Maharaj, you know? So you'll be healthy and strong and you can deal with the world. That's her sentiment. But Krishna is thinking for his immediate benefit. No, I'm just having a good time. Leave me alone. So it is important. Parents always think in terms of ultimate benefit, long term, so much short term. And that's a real parent. That's a mark of a good mother and a good father. What's for for children's ultimate benefit. I was very impressed when I was walking through Harrisburg, and along the river there, I was just getting into Instagram in those days. And Trayvon, who was my walking partner, some of you remember him. He was a tall, lanky Afro-American, and he had dreadlocks, and he looked like Bob Marley, and he was taking pictures of me. And there's a picture there of a sculpture along the riverside. I think of 7 sort of archways, and I was sitting there, and I was, the caption had to do with native spiritualism, you know, what indigenous people think, that there's several lives. So I recall when I visited Miami, they had Seminole indigenous people, and they have a firm belief that when parents make a decision, they think for like 7 or 8 generations that are yet to come. Whatever decision we make, it's for the benefit of generations to come, not just immediate. So I took that to, the way I accepted it, I said, well, these people are very smart. They're very benevolent. They're thinking for generations before. And in the world in which we live now, it's not like that. It's that we're just thinking of turn over money, you know, we turn over houses, we turn over money, we turn over people. Look at your car that you drove in, that you're driving in. Have you ever looked, does it have a bumper to it? It's ridiculous. There's no strength there, there's no protection. Am I right about that? Do you have any bumpers on your? There's nothing there, it's just plastic. It's ridiculous. So when they build cars, they're not thinking about for the future. They're not thinking long term. I go to Cuba every year, and half of the cars are built in the 40s, bodies from the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. Oh, it's like a museum there everywhere. So they were made to last, right? Long term. So we also have to think long term. Parents generally do that. What's for your ultimate good? Okay, you're a young person growing up. I'm falling in love. Oh, she's so beautiful. He's so beautiful. And your parents look at them, or even your friends, I don't think so. I don't think that person's meant for you. But when you're in love, you're blind. And your friends who have an objective view on things, and your parents, they can understand a little bit better what's going on here. For the long term, it might not be good. Short term, yes, but not long term. So in our Krishna consciousness culture, we're thinking long term. We have to implement things, or let's say, establish policies in such a way that will last for a long time. We're very much into we back up good family values. Families are very important for us, that people stay together. And when you chant together, you're liable to stay together. And it's disastrous when we can't hold certain elements of Dharma together. So we have a lot of work to do. We definitely do. But we can take shining examples from people like Kunti and her sons. They're ideal role models. And that's what the Bhagavatam is all about. People of ideal character. And to juxtapose them, you know, Shukadeva Goswami's telling the story to Parikshit. Well, there's good people and there's bad people. And we have to draw a line. Which side are you going to be on? Chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita, there's a big line, big fat line in there saying this is divine, this is divinity, and this is demonic. So you take your pick. Sometimes that thick line has to be laid out for us so we can decide, make choices in our life. In a secular world, we say everything's good. You're cool, I'm cool, and you know, even if you're cool, you're cool. You know? but we do have to see clearly the right from the wrong. So thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Yes. Okay, questions.
I will request devotees that if you have questions to please go on unmute, ask your question and mute back. That way there is no feedback when devotees hear the answer from Maharaj.
Feedback is only for prasadam, right?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare
This is
Krishna.
Parikshit Das. Please accept a humble obeisances. Royce Prabhupada.
Manage your lotus feet.
Hare Krishna. This is off the topic, but because of the situation now with this pandemic, I'm a little anxiety. I mean, in a little anxiety about the mantra reading that was set for October. I'm hoping that this is going to happen. Is it still on, or we just wait to see what happens? The mantra, the men's retreat in New Vrindavan.
Oh, yes. Oh, the mantra retreat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was speaking to Anutama, and we're not really sure just yet. I think as we get a little closer, we'll know. Maybe by May, June, because we're talking about a date in early October, right? So there's a little bit of time. As you know, most of the Rath Yatras are canceled in North America this summer, and maybe even Janmashtami will be like that. But we can have a mantra retreat, just like we're doing now. I could talk to you man to man. That lady up there, she has to be out of the way. In the meantime, we can surrender to the mantra, the Maha mantra, and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, so I don't know what to say about the mantra retreat. It's one of the best festivals I've ever gone to in my life. And the first one was great. Second one was even better. Very stimulating. Very good. Very enriching. Thank you for the question, though. Any other comments? Any other comments? I'm just stretching my legs a little bit. Hope you don't mind.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This is Ishika.
Hare Krishna.
I really enjoy all your plays that you do. I believe the Queen Kunti stories are very dear to you because when we were in Mayapur, we saw your play Queen's Secret twice. So thank you.
Ishika, can you switch on your video, please?
Yes. Thank you,
I
Maharaj.
think it's on YouTube. If anybody wants to see it, you can also check the walkingmonk.net and you can just click theater and you'll get it there. So who is it that was mentioning?
Maharaj, I was mentioning to devotees to actually follow you on Facebook, The Walking Monk.
Okay, sure. Facebook, Instagram, we're on Twitter. We're in a few places here. You might even find us on the road, on the trail. By the way, I just want to say that Pennsylvania was such a beautiful state to walk through. It really was beautiful.
Full of appellations.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we got stopped by many police officers. Oh yeah, wow. Because I'm wearing orange. So I look like an escapee from a prison. And then I had a young guy with dreadlocks. He looked like a drug lord. You know, and Pennsylvania is very conservative.
Yeah.
We got stopped a lot of times.
My goodness.
But it was fun. It was fun.
Are there any questions? Please do unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
You're one of the founding fathers, aren't you, Prabhu?
Maharaj, we had the honor of hosting you when you were in Harrisburg Reading area for a couple of days.
Yes.
So we still have remembered those memories. Thank you so much for that. One question I have, Maharaj, is you mentioned like being lazy and complacent is the worst thing that can happen to a devotee. So in these times, I mean, that's what is happening to us, sitting at home. Although we are working from home and trying to get on these on calls, but we really feel all the devotees who are sincerely trying to follow the path of Srila Prabhupada, they, in the core of their heart, they know, they are not able to be active in the devotion service. What can we do because it's not going to go away soon.
What do you feel like you're in a prison? Is that what you're
Yeah.
feeling?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
we are not.
Well, I mean, I'm sure most of you are coming together to do kirtan, for instance, right? And you're having these virtual sessions. So that helps a lot. We can do a little bit of extra japa every day. Why not? And what I find is really important is to build up your immunity a little bit and go out and get some vitamin D, get some fresh air, because there's lots of prana in the air, especially in Pennsylvania. And, so put a little balance into your life, make it balanced. I'd say we're going to get very weak if we just stay indoors. Won't they let you outside there? They won't come with a shotgun, will they? Get back into your home. So if your question is, what can we do during this difficult time? Increase your sadhana a bit, work on your relationships, build on your relationships. It's very important because the way to Krishna is through his devotees. It's not to him directly. So if you're having trouble with some people, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's a good time now to make amends in some way, shape, or form. Show people you really do love them. And so I think that's always a work in progress, but we're always kind of nice to ourselves. We're not always so nice to each other. So let's work on developing the relationship more. Make the bond tight. And Krishna consciousness is all about rasa. It's all about relationship. It's all about that. And so I think that's what we need to highlight. And look at the virus that's in you. There's at least about 3 viruses there. One is called kama, one is called krodha and lobha, lust, anger, and greed. And they're very strong. They have a very strong presence within us, whether we like it or not, whether we see it or not. So let's see where we've gone wrong. And I think it's good to pray to Krishna and ask him to put us through moments of deep reflection and introspection. Sometimes I find it's very good to think about some of the things that I did wrong, where I wronged somebody. And it's a very humbling moment for me. I feel very embarrassed. I feel, I did that. What was I thinking? So those moments of humility are very important for us. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expresses that in the 3rd verse of the Shikshastakam. It says, take a humble position, be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of sense, false prestige, and offer respects to all others. And if we're in that frame of mind, we'll enjoy our devotional service. So get into some good habits. If we have some bad habits, try to kick them out. Now's the time. I hope that helps out.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. It does. Definitely.
Hare Krishna. Is
Hare
there
Krishna.
anybody else there that has anything they want to offer?
Maharaj, I have a question, and you just touched upon a very nice point. The time to say, hey, I did something, I've erred. How can one, when one know that they have done something wrong or erred, and to make men's meet, how can one get to that stage and not beat up themselves? Oh my God, what was I thinking? And they keep beating themselves up, and not, as opposed to looking for, looking at it positively and growing. See, what
Right.
I've also learned is, I think there's this perception that we have to be pure, like as white as snow, ideal. But how do we balance that, Marge? Or should one really aspire to be pucka ideal,
Well, everything takes its time. The example is given there in the Upadeshamrita. A couple, they want to have a child, and they say, we'd like to have it tomorrow, if you don't mind. But say, no, it takes about 9 months. You just have to, you have to learn some patience, So Shanai, Sanskrit, it means slowly, gradually, that's the sattvic way. When we approach our Krishna consciousness, do it in a very level-headed way, thoughtfully, instead of in the mode of passion. I remember when some of us joined the movement, we thought, oh, I can be a pure devotee next month. And then the next month comes around, so, oh, I have to work a little harder. Maybe I'll give myself 2 more months, okay? You see, maybe this, it's a little longer than I thought it was going to be, this pandemic within, So it takes some time, because we've been crusted, our hearts have been crusted with contamination for so long. And it takes some time. Time is on your side, though. Krishna says, I am time. He says that in chapter 11. We oftentimes think of Krishna as the nice looking guy with the flute playing and who dances around, has a great smile and makes everybody happy. But we also have to see Krishna as time. Every day we should see time as Krishna. And in due course of time, I will do better than I am now if I stick to my guns. So Arjuna was also anxious. He was trying to control his mind. I can't do this. He was doing meditation. And Krishna says, chill. Simply carry on in the spirit of detachment, and everything will be fine. Just like you've heard that phrase, keep calm and carry on. The British used to say that in the Second World War. Keep calm and carry on. So just be sattvic and carry on with your duty, your responsibility, your dharma, and you'll see some fruit will come from the tree of love of God. It will come. Just be patient, because you're a patient when what? You have a disease. When you have some injury, some wound, or whatever, you're wounded or something like that. That means you're a patient. So exercise patience then, and everything will be okay. Everything will be just fine. Is that okay?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
All right. So we're
Marge,
almost.
I have one more question. I'm sorry. Marge, in the beginning, you were mentioning in the lecture how we should appreciate the good, what we're going through in current with the pandemic, and at one point, and then on the other side, then we hear all this crazy news about this and that, and Donald Trump, and all this governance stuff. How can one?
I missed that. I missed something. What you said there, it was like a key word, and it just got dropped.
The key word. Okay, I was saying that.
I'm sure.
Governors something.
The governors, and the Donald Trump, the keyword Donald Trump, I think is the keyword. With all this news about the pandemic, how can one be aloof or be away from what's ever happening and just make the best of what we have and be appreciative of the good?
Well, it's good to be a little bit informed about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all right to catch up in a little news. Prabhupada didn't want us to be naive and to be stupid. Mm-hmm. And we need to know what's going on. But you don't want to be immersed in it. Even Prabhupada was some kind of a conspiracy theorist, He believed in some of these conspiracies. It's true, but he didn't get consumed by it. Devotees would come with a pen. Prabhupada, so the Third World War is going to come. What should we do? What should we? Should we go to the forest? Should we go? Go to the farms? And said, chant Hare Krishna. Is there any difficulty?
Hare Krishna.
He would just come back, chill, calm, play Mr. Cool, and stick to your values, stick to your principles. Everything will be okay. Yeah, calm.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Be sattvic. Act in a sattvic way. Kill that little virus that we call rajas and tamas, or make them your friends. Turn them around. Make them bhaktas. Shave them up. All right.
Thank you, Maharaj. Are there any other last-minute questions from anyone?
I have
Hare
one
Krishna
question.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This is Tunga Vidya Devi Dasi from Reading.
From
Maharaj,
which place?
Reading.
Reading?
Pennsylvania. Maharaj, once we had the honor of hosting you. It was very inspiring and energetic, Maharaj. I was very much inspired how you used to wake up early, 2:30, and used to leave home 4 o'clock with all your crew. It was very, very inspiring, Maharaj. Hope to see you soon.
Well, maybe we'll have to go start in San Francisco and walk all the way back again.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, looking forward for that.
The walk across the U.S. was an amazing experience. It was quite a wonderful adventure. It really was.
Yes, Maharaj. When after coming back, you used to share all your pastimes. Like you said, you met police officer and all those. So it was, Maharaj, it was really, really very nice. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Wonderful class, Maharaj.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Again, you all enjoy a happy Mother's Day. And next month, we'll enjoy Father's Day. And do you have Family Day over there?
No, Maharaj, we don't have Family Day, but I think that there's something called Grandparents' Day.
Grandparents Day. Okay.
Sometime in September.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone's grand over there. I still remember your.
Are there any last? Are there any last-minute questions before March? Luke, gets off. I think I heard someone coming online to ask something. But I don't know.
Yeah. This is Anand. I had one question. Like, despite of her pain, how Kunti Mataji was able to maintain her awareness of Krishna?
Deep question.
Can you say it again? I couldn't make it very clear.
Like Kunti Mataji went through pain throughout her life, but still she was able to maintain her awareness of Krishna. So how she was able to maintain that? She didn't, even if she was having so much suffering.
She was always, it's expressed in that verse, she always kept her head above water, She didn't see, it didn't register to her that if there was some difficulty, that it's any different from receiving a gift or a present. She didn't make that distinction, you see? So everything was the hand of God. You have to see it like that. Otherwise, we get very depressed. So she was an upbeater, She was always upbeat. There's only two ways to be in life. One is to be upbeat or beat up. You have to make your choice. So you have to simply, she was able to instill in herself this upbeatness, that despite challenges, she saw that this is Krishna acting in such a way to get us to speed up our higher consciousness. It's Krishna's way of helping us. And if you see something other than Krishna acting behind these things, then we're not seeing properly. then we're just saying, oh, it's some material arrangement. I'll blame the governors, as the example was given. I'll blame this person, that person, everyone but yourself. So the blame game has to stop. So ultimately, we have to simply see that everything belongs to Krishna. We think they're my family members, this is my house, this is my car, this is my horse, etc., etc. No, this belongs to Krishna. So once you can establish who is the actual proprietor, then it leads you to a peaceful condition. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvalokameshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam yatvamam shantamarichiti. So when we see that Krishna is the enjoyer of everything, the proprietor of everything, he's your dearmost friend, then you will have shanti, then you'll have peace. Then you can go like this, peace, brother. Can everyone do this? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marge. We really, really blessed and fortunate to have you with us. And we hope that if this continues, the quarantine, that we will be able to hear you again in the future. Thank you so much. We would
love to join you again in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maharaj. We are going to end this with a 5 minute of chanting the Nrsimha Arati so that we can pray for everybody, and especially for those who are on the front line, the doctors and the nurses and everyone else. Maharaj, can you lead us in Nrsimha?
It's 6:37.
6:37. Yeah, I can do a real short one. What we do every day in our street at 7:30, we all the neighbors bring in their pots and pans and their whistle, and we bring in our didgeridoos and drums and shakers. We all make noise to support the medical people. Every day at 7:30. We do it for about 3 minutes.
Very cool.
So nice.
We didn't even know neighbors lived in those houses.
Hare Krishna.
Now they're coming out. Okay, so give me the word. Okay. Is Parikshit going to play the piano for this?
I could try. There's one nearby.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Pralada Lada Dayame. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Shilatam Kalaye.
Shilatam Kalaye.
Yato yato yamita Nrsimha.
Yato yato yamita Nrsimha.
Nrsimha Hridaye Nrsimha.
Nrsimha
Nrsimha Madi Sharanam Prapade. Avatara Kamalabhane Nakham Adhuta Srinam Kavitrajiranyarashi Tamrinam Kesavadrila Narayana Jaya Jagadish Hare Jagadish Hare Jagadish
Avakar
Kara
kamal
kamal
vare
vare
naka
naka
adbut
shringa
dalita
Dalita
hiranyakashipu
Hiranyakashipu Nulingam
Keshavadita
Shavadrita
Narahari Rupa Jai Jagdisha
Jagadisha
Hare
Hare
Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Hare
Jaya Jagadisha
Jagadisha
Hare
Shabadita Narari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish
Jagdisha
Shavadrita
Narahari
Hari
Rupa
Rupa
Jaya Jagadisha
Jagadisha
Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Okay, I want everyone to give a loud lion's roar. Okay? A loud lion's roar. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for being with us, and thank you to all the devotees. And I hope you all enjoyed a wonderful lecture by Bhaktimarga Swami. And he's going to go off and bang his pots.
That's right.
Haribol Maharaj, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, right.
And thank you to all the devotees. And we hope to see you online tomorrow, 5 o'clock for the chanting. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Hare